Okay, so now that we know how to use emails to communicate on the darknet privately and anonymously, the other method of communication that you might want to use is instant messaging. Now, when it comes to instant messaging, just like everything we spoke about so far, there are a number of applications that we can use to do this, such as WhatsApp and Viber for phones and Skype for desktops and phones. And again, similar to everything we spoke about so far, a lot of these apps are not private and not secure. So a lot of them log what you do, they track what you do, they track your messages, they track the users that you talk to, communicate with. Some of them have permissions to listen on your mic, and the list goes on. Not only that, even the apps that claim that they use encryption and they are private, such as WhatsApp, we don't really know how this is implemented. We can't see the code. So there is even rumors that the end-to-end encryption in WhatsApp is not 100% secure. It's not 100% end-to-end, and Facebook might be able to read the messages that get sent. Now, you'll face this issue with everything that is owned by one specific company, because a lot of these companies don't share the code used on their programs. So at the end of the day, you will just have to trust them. All this aside, all of these applications might be vulnerable to exploits, and we all heard about the WhatsApp vulnerability that affected all smartphones, in which hackers could hack into any phone by simply calling the phone, and you won't even need to answer the call and you'll get hacked. Check out the link in the resources for more information about this vulnerability, but this is just an example on how these apps can be dangerous. And again, putting all of this to the side, even if the apps are 100% secure and even if they are 100% private, these apps are installed on operating systems that are not secure and private, such as iOS, Android, Windows, and so on. And we spoke about how all of these operating systems log data and track their users. Therefore, if you want to protect your privacy and anonymity, it's a better idea to first of all use an operating system that is more private than other operating systems, such as Tails. This will solve the problem of the operating system, and then use a messaging service that is more private and a messaging app that is more private. So we're already using Tails and we know how to do that. So we have the first part of the problem solved. The next thing that we want to do is to use an instant messaging service that is more private. And to do this, we're going to use XMPP. This is a free and open protocol that is not owned by anybody, so it's not controlled by a single company. It is decentralized, so anyone, even you, can go and create your own server and use that to communicate with other XMPP servers. We can also enhance its security by using OTR, and we'll talk about that later on. And this is a widely used method of communication on the darknet. Therefore, it is very important to learn how it works. So in this lecture, I'm going to show you how to create an XMPP account, and then we'll see how we can improve its security using OTR in the next lectures. Now, like I said, XMPP is decentralized, so anyone can run their own server, and you can even use your own server to set up an account. So right here, I have a list of public XMPP servers. I'm going to include a link of this in the resources. Now, as you can see, there is a lot of servers that you can use. You can think of these as email providers. So each one of them will allow you to create an account. And once you create an account, you can communicate with any XMPP server, with any XMPP account, regardless of what server it's made on. So it's similar to emails. When you create a Gmail account, you can use it to communicate with Hotmail, Yahoo, or any other email. This is exactly the same. You can set up an account with any of these servers right here. And once you do, you can communicate with all of the others, even if you're communicating with a server that is set up by a person, not a public server. Now you can see for each server, right here we have a hidden service that you can use to access the server from within the Tor network. The inbound registration column here specifies whether you can sign up to this account without accessing their website. So if you can sign up using the XMPP protocol on its own, using your instant messenger such as Pidgin, In many cases, even if it says it's enabled here, it doesn't really work. So it's better to click on the link of the server that you want to sign up with and manually sign up. And I'll show you that in a minute. The XEP compliance gives an indication of the features and the specifications of XMPP that this server has implemented. So if you click on this right here, you'll actually get this link right here, and it'll have a list of the servers that we have, and we can see the features in here on the top, and each of these features or specifications will be green if the server is implementing it. So you can see this server right here is implementing all of the specifications. If we go down, you'll see some servers have red in here, which means that they haven't implemented this specific specification. Now, you don't really need to go through all of this because, again, in this list, it's telling you excellent for the ones that are implementing everything. So you can just pick one of the ones that say excellent. And finally, the IAM Observatory grade is a grade of the security of the server, of how well they implemented their TLS, which is their encryption, and their DNSSEC. Again, if you see A for this, that means it's pretty good, so you can go for one of these servers. Now, like I said, you can pick any of the servers in here. Before you do that, as usual, I highly encourage you to read the privacy policy and see reviews about the server before you actually go ahead and use it. But for this lecture, I'm going to use this mail, which actually is a good server, and I've seen good reviews about it. And as you can see, you get a normal website. And what we want to do with this right now is just simply register. So I'm going to click on register to register with them. And it's asking us some very simple information, such as a username. Again, make sure you set this to your fake identity. So I'm going to set it to John Wick. I'm going to set a password and answer the question. And that's it, we're done. So as you can see, a very, very simple registration process, very similar to what you would do when you're signing up for an email. It didn't ask us for any personal information, and it took us a few seconds. So you can actually even create temporary accounts. So every time you want to communicate with someone, or every week or every 2 weeks, you can just create a new account and use that to improve your security and anonymity. So the username that I picked was John Wick, JHNWCK, and the server that we have is this. So my account is going to be jhnwck@thismail.de. So like I said, it's very similar to the way emails work, and even the format is very similar to the format of emails. So that's it, the account is created. And in the next lecture, I'm going to show you how we're going to use this account to log in to the server using an instant messenger that comes with Tails, and we'll see how we can use it to communicate with other accounts. Okay, so now that we have the account set up, let's go and see how we can log in to this account and communicate with friends using Pidgin as the instant messenger. So I'm going to go to a new desktop. Now, Pidgin comes pre-installed in Tails, so this is great, and this is one of the reasons that I chose to cover it, and one of the reasons why it's so popular, because you don't need to install it, and as we know, Tails is live, so it's always great when you can just use the built-in applications. So we're going to go to Applications, and you can find Pidgin in here in the favorites, as you can see in here, or you can find it under Internet, and we have it right here. Now, we're going to launch this. And as you can see, as soon as you start it, it'll have 2 default accounts. Now, we're not going to be using these accounts. We want to use our own account, which we just created. So I'm going to click on Add. And I'm going to choose that this account is going to be an XMPP account. I'm going to put the username. And as you remember, the username that we picked was JHNWCK. And the domain that we set this on was this domain right here, thismail.de. So I'm going to copy it and paste it here. I'm going to put the password, which is the same password that I chose when I signed up. And I'm going to click on Add. Now, perfect. Now I'm actually logged in. As you can see here at the bottom, the circle is green and it says available. This is my status. So if anybody has added me to their friends list or buddy list, they will see me as available. And using this, we can set it to away, do not disturb, or offline if we want to go offline. Now, this is fine. Let's go ahead and add a friend. So I'm going to go to buddies. I'm going to click on add buddy to add another friend. So the first thing it's asking us which account I want to add this friend to. This is our account that we're using right now. So I'm going to keep this the same. If you had multiple accounts, you can click this and select the other account that you want to add your friend to. Next, it's asking us for the buddy's username, the username of the friend that I want to add. And I've already set up another account on a different XMPP server just to show you that you can communicate with any XMPP server with any account. And the other account that I set up is jhnwck2@jabber.systemli.org. So as you can see, this is a completely different server, but we should be able to communicate with it. I'm going to add it. And if we go to the other account, which is this one right here. So this is another Tails machine that I'm already logged in to the account that I just added to johnwick2@jabber.systemli.org. And as you can see, he got a friend request from my other email, which is johnwick@thismail.de. So I can authorize or deny this, and I'm going to authorize it. I'm going to allow him to add me, and I'm going to add him as a friend as well. So if we go back here, we can see we have John Wick as a friend, and we can see there's a green circle beside it, so he's online. And if I double click this, let's close this, we will get an instant messaging screen. Again, very similar to what you get in other applications and other instant messengers, and you can start sending messages. So let's say, hey, let's see if we receive it here. As you can see, we got a message here in a new tab from johnwick@thismail.de. He said, hey, let's say hello back just to test. And going back here, as you can see, we got the message back. Now, before we wrap this up, I want to highlight one more thing. So right now, when we send something through XMPP, we are connecting to the Tor network because, as we know, Tails route everything through the Tor network. Then whatever we're sending is exiting the Tor network to the XMPP server because the XMPP server is on the ClearNet, and then it's relayed to the destination. Now, all of the servers that I showed you offer a hidden service XMPP server. So what happens in that case is we connect to the Tor network, and whatever message we send directly goes to an XMPP server that is running as a hidden service. Therefore, it never leaves the Tor network, making full use of the privacy and anonymity that the Tor network offers. Now, to do this, we need to slightly modify the way we configured Pidgin. So let's go back to Tails, and I'm going to go up to the list of the servers. And I'm going to look for the server that I used, which is this one right here, thismail.de. And as you can see, we have the link for its hidden service right here. I'm going to copy this. I'm going to go down to Pidgin. I'm going to sign out of my current account. I'm going to go to offline, and we're going to go to accounts. We're going to manage my accounts. And this is the account that we want to modify its server so that we connect to the hidden service instead of directly connecting to the ClearNet server. We're going to click on modify to modify its settings. And keep in mind, we're keeping the basic exactly the way it is. We're still using the same username and the same ClearNet domain because this is our address. But what we want to modify is in the advanced tab, which is the connect server. So you want to set this server to the hidden service that you want to use as the XMPP server to connect. And that's it. We're going to click on save and we're good to go. I'm going to close this and I'm going to change my status to available again. It's going to ask you for the password. We're going to put it. And perfect, we're back online. I can see my buddy right here, and let's send him another test message. and go to his account. And perfect, as you can see, we got the message from him right here. So as you can see, very simple, very intuitive, very similar to any other messaging app that you can use. The great thing about this is, like I said, it's decentralized, so anyone can start their own server. There is no one company that controls how this works. Pidgin comes pre-installed in Tails. Therefore, you don't need to install any third-party programs, and as we know, Tails is amnesic and live and secure enough, therefore you're benefiting from all of these features. The only problem right now is, as you can see here, it's saying the connection is not private, so the communication right now between us two is not private. Now TLS is used, so there is a layer of encryption, but it's not end-to-end encryption. And ideally, we want to use end-to-end encryption, so the message gets encrypted at my end and it never gets decrypted until it reaches the destination. So even the server owner or anybody that intercepts this message would not be able to read it because it'll be encrypted throughout the whole way. So in the next lecture, I'm going to show you how to configure Pidgin to use end-to-end encryption.